Welcome to the Restoration Podcast.
You heard him. Welcome to the Road to Restoration podcast with your host, yours truly, Steve Saucer. Listen, this podcast is for boys, girls that have experienced the trauma of fatherlessness, but boys and girls that are both young and old. This is not only for children who have experienced fatherlessness, but this is for the adults who have that little boy or that little girl who's still dealing with that trauma that fatherlessness leaves behind. This is a place where we're going to join together as a village, as a tribe. We're going to join together to journey from trauma to triumph. I believe that this podcast is changing lives one episode at a time, and I want you to be a part of that. I believe that if you join forces with people who are going in a positive direction, you can't help but go in a positive direction. Somebody once said that if you want to know what your future looks like, all you got to do is look at your circle. And I believe your circle has a responsibility. Some people are blessed for no other reason than who they connected to. Likewise, some people are cursed for no other reason than who they're connected to. So connect with the Road to Restoration. And I believe that your wholeness, your healing, your restoration in total, both mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I believe that it's a conversation away. Here at the Road to Restoration podcast, there are tools that will add value to you even after the episode is over. And one of those tools is this book right here, The Fatherless Son, A Story of Rejection and Redemption. This is my book that I wrote from a place of pain, from a place of experience, but also from a place of purpose and a place of redemption. And I use my story to teach the bigger principle. And the bigger principle is it's not where you start that determines the trajectory of your life, but it's how you respond to it. God will never hold you accountable for the things that happen to you, but he will always hold you accountable for how you respond to it. And the next tool that I want to invite you to be a part of and to glean from is to become a journey partner. Look us up on Patreon, patreon.com, patreon.com. Look up Road to Restoration. That's with a number 2, Road to Restoration. And guess what? Become a member. You can become a member for as low as $7 a month. And once you do that, jump down to your cell phone, your mobile device, and download Patreon and turn your notifications on, because there's going to be exclusive content and conversations that happen right there in the Journey Partner Circle. Not only will you have that, you'll have access to journal worksheets that will help you on this journey. Not only that, you'll have 10% off all merchandise. That includes the book. Amen. And I believe it'll make you better. We are changing the world one episode at a time, and I want you to be a part of it. So join me on this journey, because the greatest journey that's ever been taken always started with one step. And your first step is to become a Patreon journey partner, is to join us by getting that book and by having this conversation. I love y'all. The Road to Restoration podcast was designed to help you, and I believe helping you helps me as well. So let's get better together. I love y'all. Welcome to the Road to Restoration podcast with your host, Steve Saucer, and I'm so excited to be here with you. And I'm looking forward to this conversation. This might be my favorite episode of all. At least it's going to be my favorite one to discuss. But before we jump in, let me say this. Every great journey starts with the first step. And this is episode 8. And 8 steps is always better than 1. And so you get a head start on your journey from trauma to triumph. And first thing I want to do is I want to make you aware that I do have some tools that'll help you on that journey. And this tool here is a book that I wrote from the depths of my heart, and with as much transparency concerning my journey and my story in my life as I possibly could. The Fatherless Son, A Story of Rejection and Redemption. It's a bestseller. I believe it'll help you, not just for fatherless sons, but for sons, daughters, both young and old. I think it is a story that begins with rejection, but it ends with redemption. And that's something that we could all benefit from, even if it's just a reminder to you about where you have traveled from, so you can appreciate where you are. The second thing I'd like to bring to your attention is that your journey and your restoration does not have to stop after you get done listening to watching this podcast. If this is a conversation that adds value to you, and if you've been looking for a tribe, a village, a community of people who you can connect with that will pick you up when you've fallen and don't have the strength to pick yourself back up, I believe this is the place. All you have to do is become a journey partner, and you do that by looking us up. Go to patreon.com, and research Road to Restoration with the number two, Road to Restoration. And you can sign up right there. Download the Patreon app on your phone and turn your notifications on, and life will be better the moment you take that step. All right, let's jump right in. The subject that we're going to discuss today is fatherhood reimagined. You heard me right. Fatherhood reimagined. And our theme is learning to parent without a blueprint. Learning to parent without a blueprint. I said at the very beginning that this is probably my favorite episode, and I haven't even recorded the episode yet. But if you just listen to what the title suggests, Fatherhood Reimagined, you'll understand why I feel that way. Because here's the reality: every circumstance of our life, every circumstance of society is the result of somebody's imagination and then somebody's taking action because of what has already been imagined. And I believe that we have the power to reimagine our life, reimagine our circumstance, reimagine our family structure, because now don't last forever. And it does not matter what now is. It does not matter how dark now is. Even in the scripture, the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy always comes in the morning. Weeping may endure, but joy will come in the morning. And so let's jump right in. Fatherhood reimagined. First thing that I want to focus on is the reality that fatherless sons oftentimes feel unprepared to be parents. It's a truth. I don't know about nobody else. And this can even, be acquainted to mothers who were fatherless. Oftentimes we feel unprepared because nobody showed us the way. Nobody gave us a blueprint. Nobody gave us a system that has produced results of success, whole and well structured emotional children to become adults. But here's the ugly truth. Ignorance of the law does not excuse us when we break the law. If you get pulled over, you don't get to say, "Oh man, officer, I didn't know it was a stop sign back there." Well, just because you didn't know, don't mean you're not gonna get a ticket. Ignorance of the law does not excuse us, and so the first obstacle that I want us to overcome, and I don't care if you got to climb that obstacle. I don't care if you're gonna run around the obstacle, if you're gonna dig a tunnel to go under the obstacle, whatever you got to do, however you gonna do it. The obstacle is not there to stop you, but the obstacle is there because life just ain't fair. How many know life be life and people be people and in the world do what the world do? But you can't let none of it stop you. And here's the reality: something that I have had to learn to embrace is that these things are not happening to me. What I can observe going on in my life, it's not happening to me, but just a simple shift in perspective will change your life forever. It's not happening to me, but it is happening for me. And so we've got to ask ourselves, and let me say this: I had to ask myself, uh, how long am I gonna lean on the crutch that said, well, I didn't have a father to teach me how to be a father. I didn't have a father to teach me how to be a man, let alone a father. Nobody, I always say, whether it's in a ministerial setting, whether it's in a professional setting or a social setting, I always say, man, if I had a me when I was a little boy, I probably would be so much further along than I am right now. And although it's true, you know, that doesn't give me a pass to accept where I am. Here's the truth: I'm not accepting nothing that's less or beneath what God says I can have. I wish I did have a me, but guess what? I didn't, and I still arrived to where I am. But one thing that I can do is make sure that my son and my daughters, they don't have to ever one day wake up and say, "I wish I had a me to help me when I was the younger me." They won't ever have to say that because they got me. My God. Somebody say that with me. I want to take a sip of this Jesus juice on that one. Because they got me. And I'm going to be me to the best of me so that they can be the best of them. All right? Your history does not have to dictate your legacy. Your yesterday does not have to determine your tomorrow. Even in my book, The Fatherless Son, I've had people ask me, is this book just for little boys who grew up without fathers, or little girls even who grew up without fathers? And the answer is always no. This book speaks to a greater principle, and I just use my life and my story to really articulate that principle that can add value to anybody who understands what it's like to have to overcome challenges that were not the result of your own decisions. And here's the way I would explain it. If you had twin sons who grew up in the house with an abusive and alcoholic father, I mean, their daddy was a devout alcoholic. He lived by the bottle, and he definitely was gonna die by the bottle. He loved alcohol so much that there was never a day in his life that they can remember where a bottle wasn't present. And so one day, one of the twins grew up. He became a man, and he fell into alcoholism himself. He loved alcohol even more than his daddy. I'm talking about love it. Forget about being addicted to it. He actually enjoys it. He ain't trying to get free from it. And one day, his friend said to him, "Man, why you love alcohol so much?" He stopped and he thought about it. He stepped back. He said, "You know what?" He said, "My daddy was an alcoholic." And his brother, his twin, he grew up obviously, and one day his friends just kind of observed him because he grew up in the same set of circumstances, but he hates alcohol. He don't like alcohol. He don't want to do. He don't want nothing to do with an event that even sells alcohol. He don't like the smell of it. Don't even like the look of it. And one day his friend said to him, "Man, why you hate alcohol so much?" And just like his brother, he stopped and he sat back and he thought about it for a minute. He said, "You know what?" He said, "Man, my daddy was an alcoholic." And so the heavy part of that is they both were raised in the same set of circumstances. They both endured the exact same trauma. They both experienced the same exact circumstances. But it's never about what you've gone through that determines the trajectory of your life. It's always about how you respond to it. Even to my church, I say this. I ain't trying to preach, but I'm a pastor and I can't help it. God will never hold you accountable for what somebody else does to you, but He will always hold you accountable to what to the way you respond to it. What somebody else do ain't your problem, but how you respond to what they did, you will have to answer for. And so that principle helps us to understand that it doesn't matter how dirty my background is, my life can get cleaned up. It doesn't matter how hard or harsh the circumstances that I grew up in were. The reality is life can get easier for me. And it may not be, because hear me, nothing is just easy. Nothing of value comes easy. You know, poverty is expensive. If you don't believe me, guess what? You're going to pay extra in insurance based on your zip code. You will pay extra for whatever you purchase, whether it be a house or a car or land or you name it. If your credit score ain't up to par, poverty is expensive. They said what you don't know can't hurt you. That's a lie. That is a lie. Financial literacy is not only education, it's a skill, it's a muscle that you can develop. And if you are financially illiterate, it will cost you. And so what you don't know can hurt you. And so the reality is, hear me. If I can survive hardship without a direct guide, can you imagine what the people coming behind you could do when you become a guide that takes them from the place you once were in, the seat you once sat in, and show them how to persevere and grow out of it? What you don't know can hurt you. We all, as fatherless sons, as fatherless daughters, can attest to that. There was so much that I didn't know, and I paid the price for it. But at a certain point, I had to realize that I wasn't gonna die ignorant. I wasn't gonna accept not knowing. At a certain point, I had to realize that if I am gonna learn it, if I am gonna know it, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the work to become the best version of me. And so, yes, poverty is hard. You know, it's a failure is hard. Struggle is hard. It's hard. It's hard. We can't shake that. But so is success. So is winning. So is becoming the best version of you. That's hard too. Being a champion is hard. There has never been a championship boxer that didn't first have to step in the ring and fight and get punched. Failure is hard. That's true, but so is success. So you got to pick your hard. You got to choose, which hard life do I want to be my story? Do I want it to be said he persevered and he fought and he's clawed his way up the mountaintop of success? Or do I want to say that he struggled and he suffered through poverty and lack and lowliness until his death? I'm gonna tell you right now, I know which heart I want. I want the heart that pay off. I want the heart that makes not only my life better, but everybody that's connected to me better. You get to determine what your legacy would be. Here's the key. You have the power to reimagine what fatherhood should be. Here's the reason why this is probably going to be my favorite episode, because I'm going to deal with a whole lot of solutions. Every episode, I got a component of solution interwoven into that conversation. But this whole conversation is solution based. This whole conversation, none of it will highlight the problem, but it will all highlight the solution. You get to reimagine what your legacy will be. You get to reimagine what your future will be. I know it sounds cliche and a lot of people say it, but it was really my story. It was really my testimony. I had adults tell me that you ain't gonna make it past 18 without going to jail or dying and going to hell. And they might not have said it in them exact words, but that was what was prophesied to me. Even when it comes to me as a pastor, and establishing a church, founding a church, growing it from nothing, I was told that if I attempted to do this, I was gonna curse everything connected to me, not only my ministry, but my marriage and my family, and everything connected to me was gonna fail. It was prophesied to me. It was prophesied to me by somebody that I loved and I trusted and I gave everything that I had to. It was told to me that my church was going to close up in less than a year, just like a folding chair. That's what was said. But instead of embracing that, see, because here's a common quality that a lot of fatherless sons and fatherless daughters have, is you can't tell me what I can't do, because I've been overcoming odds since I was an itty bitty little bitty boy, little bitty dirty little kid from the projects. I've been overcoming obstacles since the very beginning. So the moment that you tell me what I can't do, you have just given me the next assignment for my life. And I had to reimagine what my life looked like as a pastor, as a husband, as a father. I had to reimagine what my life looked like. What contribution would I leave behind? What trees would I plant that I won't ever get to eat from? What will I establish that will bless and benefit people that I may never even get to meet? And when I allow for my imagination to come alive again, and when I allow for my future to become bright again, the sky wasn't even a limit because there is no limit. I'm talking about I'm going beyond the sky. I'm thinking heavenly. I'm thinking so far outside of limits that if this happened, you can only say it's because God did it. Follow what I'm saying? We got the power to reimagine our legacy. And hear me, I wrote a book, but your life is a book. Every day is a page. Every season of your life is a chapter. And you get to determine the narrative of the book and the ending of the book. You get to choose that. You get to choose what the end of your story says about you. You get to choose what redeemable qualities, if any, your narrative adds to the people's lives that are looking at you. Because I don't want you to miss this. I'm gonna take a sip of this Jesus juice and I'm gonna tell you this real fast. I don't want you to miss this. There's somebody watching you. There's somebody that's watching you and they've never said it before. They are paying attention to you. They are inspired by you. They are encouraged by you. They are emulating you. They are trying to, even if it's subconscious, they are trying to be a little bit more like you. And so you got to ask yourself, if that little boy, if that little girl, if that person, if that man or if that woman, if they emulate my mindset, what kind of thinker would they be? If they emulate my conversation, would they be somebody that's always negative? Just talk negative. Everything is negative. Just negative Nancy and negative Nathan. Just negative. Why just be negative? Just for no reason. If they emulated my press, would they be a quitter or would they be a fighter? If they emulated my fight, would they accept loss? Would they accept less? Or would they realize that it ain't over until I win? It ain't over until I win. And I wish I had a studio because I would have sent old DJ Khaled. I would have sent him a feature because all I do is win, 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 win too. And so I got something to say about it because I'm winning even when I'm still in the process. If and I shifted a little bit and started talking about myself, but I want you to talk about you because you got to be careful what words you let come out of your mouth. You got to use what you have. I remember when, and this kind of happened with all my kids, but Junie, the youngest one, my son, this is the maybe the most, what would I say, the most aggressive example of this. He got a little strong constitution like his daddy. He just got a little strong constitution. He is a little bitty me. Thank God he got me to help him because he is a little bitty me. And before he was really willing to articulate his feelings and ask for what he wanted, he had the capacity to talk. He had the ability to talk, but he wouldn't talk. He was trying to train us to respond to his grunts and his groans and his tears. And I told him, man, you better use your words. I don't respond to, I got as your father, I have everything you need and I want to give it to you. But I'm not responding to a point. You better open your mouth and say you want some water. And pointing at a waffle. You better open your mouth and say you want a waffle. You better use your words. Why? Because I understood it was my responsibility to teach him the power of his words. Here's the reason why words are so powerful and the reason why you got to start talking to yourself better. Here's the reason why words are, see, your words, first of all, I can't even start with words. I got to start with the way you think. And sometimes we got to change the way we think about ourselves. And again, I'm not trying to be preachy, but I'm a pastor and I can't help it. We have to start accepting the thoughts that God has about us. Jeremiah, I believe is 29:11 says, "I know the thoughts that I'm thinking towards you, thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end." He said, "I'm thinking good thoughts about you, not evil." He said, I have predetermined success at the end of your story. That's what the Lord says about us. So we got to learn how to start thinking different. I remember there was a time in my life no matter what I tried, I was just in the back of my mind waiting for it to fail. I knew it was going to fail because everything else always failed. And I was just waiting for somebody to say no, waiting for this so I could just go back to smoking or drinking or doing whatever I was doing to self medicate my pain that wasn't never going to go nowhere because it might have made me feel better in the moment, but it just made things worse long term. And I had to, I had to start thinking different. I had to start expecting. I remember, you know, I don't, I try not to, I try not to talk too much, specifically about my family because I know my perspective is to some degree a little jaded because of the lenses that I saw the world through at that time when I was experiencing our interaction. And so I may have a completely different idea of a person than the reality of that person. Because one of the symptoms of fatherlessness is we create in our mind this fantasy of, um, especially men, we create in our mind a fantasy of them like as though they represent the best version of a man. So that's why we start looking up to the dope boy because, a real man got a nice car. Or we start looking up to the womanizer because, a real man, he can have any woman he want. And so I got to be careful sometimes about, pulling from those examples because sometimes I don't know if my thought process is truly is truly pure or if it's been impacted by those lenses that I saw the world through. But I can remember my grandfather, you know, probably the closest male relationship that I ever had. He passed when I was in the eighth grade, and a familial male relationship. And I remember he used to always say, he said, expect the worst and hope for the best. And that sounded like wisdom. It was like a dime. He dropped on me. Just boom, just dropped the dime on me. And I was like, yeah. Expect the worst, hope for the best. That makes sense. If I expect the worst, I ain't gonna be disappointed when the worst come. But that's a problematic mentality because that mentality will train you to accept the worst. And I'm not accepting the worst, not when the best is possible. And so I had to shift the way I thought. And I had to become the kind of thinker that says, I I am expecting the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. That's different. I'm not going to be silly and not prepare for all of the ifs and the possibilities that could occur. But I ain't expecting the worst. No, 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 no. I'm expecting the best because if I give it my best, I deserve the best back. So I had to change the way I thought. And here's the reason why I say that. You got to change the way you think because the way you think will impact the way you feel. The way you think will impact the way you feel. And I know it might be true that that's how you feel, but just because that's how you feel don't mean that it's true. Have you ever had somebody tell you, man, I thought you didn't like me? And you was like, what? Like, where you even, huh? Where you get that from? How you think I ain't like you? We ain't never even talked, right? And so just because you think or just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean your feelings are valid. They might be valid to you, but they may not be valid to the world around you. But if they're valid to you, your feelings will start to determine the word choices you use. And here's the reason why that's dangerous because your words will be a product of your feelings. And so if you struggle with a self-image and self-esteem and self-confidence, you'll talk like you don't believe in yourself. You'll talk like you don't deserve the best. You'll talk like this is life and you might as well just accept it and get over it. You'll start to use those kinds of words, and words frame your reality. This is the reason why words are powerful. Words literally frame your reality. Once it might it's wonderful for you to think it. It's not wonderful, but understand what I'm saying. It's wonderful for you to think it. It's wonderful for you to feel it. But the moment you let it come out of your mouth, now the environment responds to your words. You have a God quality. The Bible says we can speak those things that are not as though they were. That's a God quality. You have the ability to speak things into existence. You can talk yourself into believing you can talk yourself into believing you're able to do above and beyond what the world has told you you can do. all just by using your words. That's why daily affirmations are powerful. That's why daily affirmations are powerful, because the words you use will reinforce your thoughts, will reinforce your feelings, and will demand the world to respond. And the response is going to be determined by the words you've chosen to use. So you got to start changing the way you use language. And the reason is because your every day is a page in the book of your life. Every day is a page. And you might have some pages that are doom and gloom and dark. But those pages are subject to seasons, because all of us go through good times and bad times. All of us go through ups and we go through downs. And those seasons are chapters in our book. But but pages can change the narrative and the feel of a whole chapter. And chapters can empower the impact of the whole book. So you got to start asking yourself, if somebody was to read the book of my life, what would they walk away thinking? How would they walk away feeling? What would they walk away believing they can accomplish? Or would they walk away believing that failure is the only option for them? And when you're a father, when you're a mother, when you're a parent, you don't have it. You do not deserve the right to accept failure for your children, even if somebody accepted it for you, because you get to reimagine the future. Can I really zero in on the solution real quick? Let me pause and put a quarter in the meter, take a sip of this Jesus juice. I want to really kind of zero in on the solution if I can. And here it is. God equips you with everything you need to break generational curses, generational cycles, and the trauma that's caused by fatherlessness. God has equipped you already. God has equipped you already. Somebody say already. I hope if you're listening to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast, you driving to work or doing whatever you're doing, I hope you will shout that out and say, God has already equipped me. If you on YouTube and you looking at this, I want you to put it in the comments. God has already equipped me. And if you don't believe in God, okay, wonderful. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm telling you right now, God is the author and the finisher of my faith. And I ain't going to hide from that. And I know that the God that I serve has already equipped me to be everything I'm capable of becoming. Always remember this. Every single seed has a full-grown tree, plant, or flower on the inside of it. I need you to hear me. Listen, um, um, it does not matter how small the seed is. It don't matter what the seed look like. It don't matter what the seed smell like. If you put that seed in fertile ground, a whole tree coming. But that tree didn't grow from the ground. That tree didn't grow from the soil. That tree didn't grow from the dirt. That tree was already existing on the inside of that seed. See yourself as a seed that already has greatness trapped on the inside of it, that already has a spirit of excellence trapped on the inside of it, that already has a successful businessman, a successful businesswoman trapped on the inside of it, that already has, here's the major one for our conversation, that already has a successful father, a successful mother, a wonderful parent trapped on the inside of it. And sometimes, hear me, sometimes life will squeeze that seed, and it'll squeeze that seed so that eventually that seed will break open. And it's not until that seed breaks open that the tree gets to experience the life that was meant for it. And what am I trying to say? Life might be squeezing you. Your history might have squeezed you. Circumstances might have squeezed you. They might be squeezing you right now. Ups and downs and failures might be squeezing you, but don't worry and don't fret, don't get anxious, don't get none of that. Because if life squeezes you enough, eventually it's going to pull out the best version of you. Hear me, and Jesus always used agricultural examples because his audience was an agricultural audience. And we understand biblically and culturally, historically, that the olive was one of the most important crops in that region, and it was the most coveted crops, the most esteemed crops in that region. But it was not because the olive tastes good. I don't know about you. I don't just eat no olives. Now I didn't met a couple people, and I'm praying for them because they might be a little weird to me, you know. But they actually like the way olives taste. But olives were not, you know, the most important crop because they tasted good. They were not the most important crop because they had the most beautiful color or because they had a beautiful scent, right? But olives were the most important crop in that region because of what was on the inside of them. And what they would do is they would take barrels and they would put all of the olives inside the barrel, and they would put a wooden plank over the barrel. And there were people who their only responsibility was to stand on the wooden plank and smash the olives down. They would literally crush the olives because what was valuable about the olives was inside of the olives, and it's called oil. And the oil don't come out until the olive has been crushed. But once the oil comes out, it will change the life of everybody that's exposed to it. And I want you to know, you, my friend, you are an olive. And there are some sons and there are some daughters and there are some businesses and there are some inventions and there are some ideas that's meant to change the world. And all they waiting on is for you to be crushed. And as long as the crushing happens, you should be encouraged because that means the oil is seeping out of you. And eventually, we will all be able to look back and say, look at what you've become. That's what I want to leave you with. Look at what you've become. I was listening to another podcaster, and he was saying, he asked a question. He said, for fathers, he said, picture yourself as a kid, and picture yourself as a kid with your children currently as children. And you as a kid were a friend of one of your kids. He said, how would you feel about your kids? Would you think they was rich? Would you think they were loved? Would you think they were living a good life and coming from your experience? You living in your experience, and now you looking at your friend. Would you think they were rich? Would you think they were loved? Would you think they were in a good environment? Would you wish that you had their life? And if the answer to that is yes in any way, you're doing a good job. You're doing better than what you give yourself credit for. And so I want to say to you, look at what you've become. If this conversation has impacted you positively, if it's added any value to your life, I want to challenge you, go and get this book, The Fatherless Son, a story of rejection and redemption. I believe this book will change your life one page at a time. I believe it'll make sense of a whole lot of things, and it'll inspire you to chase after the greatness that's already on the inside of you. If this conversation blessed you, I want you to go to patreon.com, Patreon, patreon.com. I ain't real good at English, so y'all pray for me. Patreon.com. Look up Road to Restoration. That's the number 2, Road to Restoration. Make sure that you join and become a journey partner. There's so many different benefits associated to being a journey partner. The journals that you get with every episode, those are coming out ASAP. 10% on all merch, even on the book. Hallelujah. In inspiring conversation in a private setting, obviously exclusive content. I just believe it'll add value to your life and help you get through days when you need just a little pick me up to get through it. Do yourself a favor, become a journey partner, and let's travel this road together. We're gonna go from trauma to triumph. But I want to remind you, look at what you've become. Bless you, man. I love y'all.